Hi, so I'm Jennifer, and you are Marie-Louise, right?
Yes, exactly. Nice to meet you.
Louise Rizou. And so you're currently a student still?
Yes, exactly. I'm a student.
Yeah, in the Master 2, is that right?
International Human Resources Management.
Okay, and I imagine you're already doing an apprenticeship as well?
Yes, exactly. So I'm doing an apprenticeship since 2 years almost. I mean, I'm in my second year now. I started last year in the same company where I stayed for the Master 2. I work at Chanel.
Lovely.
Yes.
Great. How did that come up that you managed to get into such a great company?
It's a bit of luck, of course, and it's also due maybe to my past experience. I'm half French, half German, and I grew up in Strasbourg. I studied hotel management and worked on after that 3 years in Palace in Geneva. So maybe the part of the knowing the luxury industry helped me to be accepted in a company such Chanel, and I was contacted by the recruiter thanks to the CV book Ciffop sent out to all our partner companies. So
that's how it's linked to the Alumni Network?
Not exactly, no. Okay. It's the team, the teachers team and the administration team creates a CV book with all our CVs, and then they send them to the partner company, and everyone received them, and they look at them and contact the students they're interested for their potential openings. So many students got contacted by many companies, and it's great.
Cool. That sounds good. And Dr. Morin, enchanté.
Gabriel, yes, nice meeting you.
And you're obviously the director of the English-speaking program.
Yes, indeed. And I'm also associate professor in leadership development.
Wow, wonderful. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Exactly. So shall we sit down to find out more about the master program?
Of course.
Yes. Great. Right, so welcome everyone. My name is Jennifer, and we're here to discover the master program together, International Human Resources Management at Ciffop, Paris to Assas. And yeah, as I said, we're here with Dr. Gabriel Morin. Can you give us a little 1-minute pitch of the program?
Yeah, of course. So 3 questions. What, who, and why? So what? It's an international program in human resources hosted in one of the top French universities called Paris to Panthéon-Assas. So you got a Master 1 that lasts 1 year and a Master 2 that lasts also 1 year. And you can apply directly to a Master 2 or through a Master 1 first. Who? It concerns every student from every place around the world. So the international DNA is a key part of this program. For instance, this year, out of 30 different students, we've got 20 different nationalities.
Wow.
And so you need to apply, if you apply in Master 1, you need to have 3 years of bachelor, and if you apply to Master 2 directly, which is possible once again, you need either 4 years of bachelor or a Master 1. And you need to be fluent in English for Master 2, and both fluent in English in French for the Master 1, because Master 1 is in French. It's coming to other programs. Last question, why? Because it's considered as one of the best programs in HR worldwide, not only in France. For instance, if you want to have more facts, so it's one of the only program in university in HR that has the EPAS accreditation. So we had it 3 years ago, and now another time because the team came last year. So EPAS accreditation is one of the key academic accreditation provided by one of the top authorities in academic called EFMD. Second thing, which is key too for students, if you after graduation you have, on average, you can have one of the best, let's say, wages in average after a program in HR in France, a master in HR. That's it.
Sounds pretty promising. Marie-Louise, hi. So you're currently a student at the Ciffop. You're in Master 2, if I understood right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah? Did you also complete the Master 1 there, or?
Yes, I did. So I started with the Master 1, which is more general HR, and it's in French. So I did that before because I knew I wanted to do the international master afterwards.
Yeah, so obviously I guess it helps to be bilingual maybe, right? If you want to do Master 1 and 2.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
For the Master 1 you need to speak French because the program is in French, and so yes, it helps. But for the Master 2 it's a full track English Master, and you don't need to speak French, for example.
In your opinion, what are the strongest points of this master program?
So in my opinion, it's the fact that it's international, which means that, as I said, it's in English, but not only that, it's all the students who are selected for this program come from very different backgrounds, different cultures, nationalities, so it's very enriching for everyone, for us, for the teachers, so that's a very strong and important aspect. And another one is that it's a master where we work also, so it's practical oriented, and we spend many weeks also in companies where we are employed, so that's also something very special about it.
It does sound amazing. I would like to know who can actually apply to Ciffop. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, Dr. Moerlen?
Yes, of course. I would just, if I may add something, as Marie-Louise said, it's a very balanced master between the professional angle and the academic angle. And is indeed, as Marie-Louise said, you spend almost half a year in a company as an apprenticeship, in Master 1 and in Master 2. So that's a key point. Yes, regarding the international DNA, I forgot to say that it's the only program in HR, full English track in a French university. So to apply, as I said, you need this degree, you need different level of experience. It can be in law, it can be a background in HR, of course, but that's, let's say, what is very interesting about this is the multiculturality, as Marie-Louise said, because you can mix all these people, combining all of them with one, let's say, goal, which is becoming a leader in HR in their future career.
Perfect. And you already mentioned that obviously you have to be fluent English speaker, I guess, written and speaking, to apply. And what else?
In Master 2. In Master,
yes, just for the Master 2. And what else about the application process? Can you tell us a bit more details?
Yeah, so you get a period of, to apply. It's open, I think, in between January and March, and then there's the second period between, I guess, April and June, I think.
Yeah.
So you get 2 sessions of recruitment, and so first of all we will study, and we will make let's say an exploration of all the background, the CV. There is an essay to make about HR in the future or whatever, and then after you can be either rejected or selected for a recruitment session, the interview session, sorry. And then after that, if it's okay, then you become accepted by the master. So.
Great. So I guess there are different stages, if I'm just trying to understand well, because obviously you have people applying from abroad, I imagine.
Yes.
So the first step can be done from their home country before they come over for the interview?
Yeah, absolutely. The interview can be made, let's say, remotely, especially in the new context, as everyone knows. So I think it's not a problem at all. But if you prefer, we can do it on face-to-face, of course. It's always better in terms of interactions. And that's it.
Good, perfect. So I think you already responded to my question of when can future students apply. So they basically have to go online between January and March, I think you said, to find all the details.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
so
great.
you get the website of Paris 2 University, the website of the Ciffop 2, and then they can follow all instructions to apply.
And what kind of classes and assessments can one expect to come across?
You mean during the master?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's very mixed. I mean, we consider that an individual today has to be very adaptive and has to understand at the same time oral and written skills. So it's about oral and written exams. It can be also either individual or collective. And the thing is that, once again, it's very, let's say, based on professional and academic requirements. So, for instance, if you take the professional angle, it's more about how you can make, issue really rooted to the current, let's say, issue in the HR department of a multinational.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you will be asked to do collective, then individual dissertation, inspired by the best one, which is a PhD, for instance. So question research, interview, qualitative, quantitative methodology, etc. So I think it's a very mix. And you've got, in the Master 2, you've got almost 50 different classes covering, I think, all the main aspects in HR. So it can be from, talent development, recruitment, future of work week, etc., leadership and law, of course, but more international law, not French law, because once again, the international DNA is key here.
Yeah.
And yes.
Perfect. Marie-Louise, do you want to tell us a little bit about a typical maybe week at Ciffop, or is it so different every week that there isn't even one typical week to describe?
I think every week is very different because we have many different lectures during the weeks and they evolve during the year. So we also have experts who come in and will talk about one special subject. So it really depends, and the weeks are sometimes very intense, sometimes a little bit less.
Yeah.
We have group works, so it's very challenging, and it's weeks where we enjoy being together, and
And weeks where you're more stressed, right? I'm only joking. So can you tell us a little bit about the relationship between the Ciffop kind of team and the students? Both of you, obviously, and maybe you can also tell us a little bit about the relationship amongst the students. Is there a great sense of solidarity? What's the kind of vibe?
Of course. So we have a great class. We are almost 30 people, a little bit less. And so, as I said, we come from very different backgrounds. Also, what's concerning our studies before. So it's very various, and it's very interesting because there are also some people who are French, so we help each other. For example, also regarding all the paperwork we might have and deal in France, for example. So it's an environment of sharing, and so it's very interesting, supporting exactly. And in the future, we will have also to deal in companies with people from different backgrounds. So it's something like we have to learn now to work together and to adapt to each other. It's a cultural management, let's say it like that. So
yeah. Can you add something about the maybe relationships between the
of course. I would say that more than a community, we try to build an ecosystem. And this ecosystem, of course, is made with all the students, all the very strong and close, let's say, interactions. And so we mix the groups. They make after their own relationship, etc. But also coming from a faculty team. So coming from a faculty team, you got all the experts that Marie-Louise said, but also you get the professional tutors, which are now HRD in big French company. And all these people, let's say, are gathering around, let's say, this objective of making someone a future, let's say, HR executive. So that's the point. But at the same time, we have also some fun moments, more social moments, formal and informal, induction seminar, conclusion seminar. In theory, we are supposed to go abroad once a year, but depending on the context. But it's also a key moment. It's a highlight of a season because we are all together discovering, let's say, once again, an HR, let's say, topic. It can be so. 2 years ago, we were in Mexico, for instance, to discover more, how sustainable HR can be possible. So it was, fascinating. And so we got also another thing called Future of Work Week, which is 1 week dedicated to this, let's say, innovation about how, the work of tomorrow will be. And it's even more important now with this pandemic context. But this seminar was already in place 2 years ago, so before all this crisis started. So I would say community ecosystem, that's how, the strong links are about, and we try to build them.
Really interesting. I'm sure lots of future or potential future students would like to find out more about the differences between the Master 1 and 2. Now, obviously, you've already completed the first one. Maybe you can tell us a bit about your experiences as well, but maybe, Dr. Moerlen, you could first tell me what are the main differences between these two?
I mean, I think we mentioned the main difference. The main difference first in Master 1, it's coming to different, let's say, HR program. So it's coming, let's say, a very general, let's say, classes module about strategy, management, etc. And then you go, and after you have more and more HR, let's say, trend classes, etc. And then in Master 2, you got this different, let's say, program, completely English, international, let's say, oriented in our program. And I think that's it, because that's the same principle. Once again, you spend half a year in a company, half a year in the university, is to be balanced once again between the two parts. I don't know, do you want to add something?
How about your experience? That would be interesting to hear.
So when I applied for Ciffop, and I really applied for the international master, so the Master 1 was more general, as you already said, and it's the basics, and I was very looking forward to the Master 2 because we're going deeper in the subjects, and they're international related subjects, and so it's a new environment, it's totally different than the Master 1, and
more specialized, I imagine.
More specialized, and we're smaller groups, so we really feel like a unity, and
that's lovely. What about students coming from abroad? Like, obviously you say you have students from so many different countries. Do they get any help to settle in Paris, and how does that work?
I think yes, they get help from the core team of the Ciffop. And after they get also help from the previous students, the Alumni Network, which is very, very important and very strong, because usually what happens is that after graduation usually they don't come back to their own country, they stay in Paris because they like the culture, they like the place, they like also the let's say professional background, and so that's a key part also of this program. And so we got all this help to settle, in Paris, because it's not obvious, especially because in Master 2 you don't need to speak French to be accepted in Master 2. So sometimes they don't speak French at all.
So they might need even more help to find a place to settle in.
Yeah, they need more help. But all the let's say this ecosystem, let's say what I mentioned before, is here to help them precisely. But I don't know, maybe Marie-Louise can. Yes. An experience.
I'm half French, so I already knew how things go. But for me, even it was new also to settle in Paris, and so between each other we had our contact details, and we shared many things prior to our studies and prior to know each other, to help each other through all the processes, administrative, bureaucracy. So it's helpful, and also the team in the offices helped us a lot also. They're very responsive, and so
that's great.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up actually?
I grew up in Strasbourg, between Germany and France.
Okay.
So
and you're half German, half French, if I understood right. Okay, yes. So you bring that international side already with you.
Exactly.
That's
yeah, lucky, yes.
Plenty of options to work later then. What has been your highlight so far during your studies?
The highlight, I think it's a special year. So we had the luck to be with each other in class during the first month of the academic year. So I think the moments where we could be together, sharing presentations and interacting, really were the highlights, because now it's a bit different doing group works on Zoom. But I would say meeting in real the people and was, I think, the highlight of the year for the moment.
I was just about to say, it's not a normal year. How much has the whole pandemic affected the university life?
Usually the thing is that we were able last year to switch from face to face to remote almost instantly. So it was okay, because we were able to deliver almost 100% of the academic class. Yeah. Because between March and July. And this year we really want to prioritize the face-to-face, interactions. So that's why it started in mid-September. from mid-September to the beginning of the second lockdown, most of the classes were face-to-face. Yeah. So it was really better because to engage people, in a company or in university, there's no better way than interaction in life. So that's what we did. But now, as people know better each other, etc., it's better to, from this face-to-face aspect, go into the remote. Yes. So yes.
Yeah, we were lucky to have seen each other in classes and meeting also our professors, most of them. So I think also to have a real relationship with each other and to continue the year, it was the best.
Well, let's hope that 2021 will be better for all of us, especially as Ciffop is going to be 50 years old.
Yes.
We're going to be now moving on to meet one of the professional speakers at Ciffop and also an alumni. But thank you very much to you both.
Absolutely.
Really nice to meet you, and thank you so much for sharing all this information and your experience. Thanks. You must be Celia?
Mm-hmm.
Nice to meet you. And how do you pronounce your last name? I wasn't sure on that one.
It's Kupiainen.
Kupiainen. You're from Finland?
Yes, that's the reason why it's a little bit challenging to pronounce. You can just call me Celia.
Nice to meet you. And nice to meet you, Paul Meyer.
Nice to meet you, Jennifer.
You're a professional speaker at Ciffop, right?
Yes, I'm an HR director.
Excellent. And what about you? Where are you working at now? Since the master program?
Yes, indeed. I graduated in 2016 and currently I work at a human data science company as a senior organizational development advisor.
Wow, it's like a long title, right?
It is indeed.
Excellent. Well, we'll find out more about your work and your experience with Ciffop. Let's sit down. So here we are, continuing, as I said, with the professional speaker Paul Meyer and an alumni student, Celia from Finland, to find out a little bit more about the master program. Now, obviously, we've already found out that the apprenticeship part is quite a big part of the master program. Could you tell us a little bit more about it? Like what kind of coursework is linked to the apprenticeship and what impact does it have on the students?
Yeah, it's a dual course. When you're a student, you alternate between sitting in a classroom and getting the normal kind of lessons you can expect and being engaged in a company where you will learn the basic of discipline within human resources. So you will be integrated inside an HR department.
What would you say are the benefits for the students?
Well, it's the benefit commonly admitted for apprenticeship. It means you learn by doing, and then you confront reality and you go back to studies and get the theoretical aspect of things with a teacher. So personally, I always thought it's extremely beneficial as a way to learn things.
Yes, for real life experience, I guess, as well,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
How was that for you, Celia, when you did the apprenticeship part at Ciffop?
I think it's extremely rewarding because when you balance between the academia and real world, so to say, your time with the company, you're able to apply directly what you've learned instead of, study throughout your final years and try to remember what you've learned, but there's continuous application. And also when you encounter something at work, you're able to bring it back to your classes and reflect with your teachers as well as your classmates who all work in different sort of companies. So it brings you a completely different perspective and it helps you well in terms of that preparation as a final step towards then working full-time.
Where did you do your apprenticeship while you were at Ciffop?
In which company?
Yeah.
I worked in Suez, which is has a good connection with Ciffop, and it was extremely interesting. Actually, my manager was a former Ciffopian, and we had an extremely good relationship. And again, that helped me to reflect even further in terms of how it was like at class and then in the company.
Mm-hmm. Great. How does that work in terms of the students trying to find their apprenticeships? Does Ciffop help them, or maybe also, I know that there's an alumni network. Can maybe former students help to kind of, find an apprenticeship? Can you both maybe tell us a little bit about that? Could we maybe start with you, Mr. Meyer?
Well, in recent years, I'm not talking about 2020, that is a very special year, but students were arriving, as far as I can observe, we've already a company to do their apprenticeship. So they were finding a company before they were actually starting the study. Okay. In more difficult years, I remember 2008 and 2009, after the crisis, we had to help them more and to provide ourselves opportunities. But, so we will see for 2020 or 2021, but in the recent years it has been extremely easy. What would you say?
I mean, the school, at least at my year, provided a CV book of students that it distributed with the companies they work. And obviously also from an alumni perspective, it was always interesting to see who are the new students, and in that regard help out the future generations. The alumni organization as well posts on their pages offers. And in general, the whole network is always supportive and available, so people can be contacted directly on LinkedIn as well to say, I'm interested in your company. So it's really, truly a network of former students that's quite strong and supportive in terms of finding an apprenticeship.
Yeah, sounds very helpful, now, you're obviously a professional speaker, Mr. Meyer. Can you tell us a little bit more about what other types of tutors teach at Ciffop, and how the whole kind of tutor system works there?
Yes, well, it's very much a tradition at Ciffop. Since the start of the school almost 50 years ago, there were already tutors, part of the total program. So I think the rule is still the same. You should be an HR director by profession in order to be as close as possible to the job these students are aiming for, selected in various kind of companies, small or big, mainly international, especially for this Master 2 that is truly international. And it's more, again, it's a network. You do this on a couple of years. If I take my case, I was there since the start of the program in 2007, but I've seen many other colleagues becoming tutors on the side.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, you are obviously from Finland, and you ended up staying in France.
Yes.
Would you say that's generally the case with other students? Do lots of them end up staying in France? I mean, obviously you can also say something about this if you want to. Or have you heard of lots of students going back to their country of origin?
I guess it depends. For every person, it's a little bit different depending on their personal preferences. But I would say it's definitely beneficial for you to stay in France because you've acquired all this experience and knowledge, potentially language skills, so that you will be able to build upon that to continue in France. And also, obviously, the reputation of Ciffop helps you to find very good job opportunities in France, so it will be a shame if you don't take that opportunity to stay a bit longer. But then again, some people will return to their country of origin. Some people take it as an opportunity to see another country. So we have a lot of other students, not only international, but also the French students who've done the international track, that have then gone and started working in yet another country. But again, that is part of the benefits of the master, of the international aspect of it, that either you can stay here in France, or then you can continue building a more international career somewhere else. But it provides you opportunities for that on both regards.
Yes, of course. Plus, I guess you could always stay a few years and then move on to another country if you want. You never know what happens. So in terms of career, what would you say are the rewards of this program?
I think it's first, it's top quality program, I think. You get the best of two worlds, the best of the French education system that is mainly free or doesn't cost much, and an Anglo-Saxon type of program. So you get, if you are hesitating as a student between different programs in different countries, I think this one is gathering the two dimensions, extremely inexpensive and very, very good quality and international. So if I have to summarize a little bit, that's what I would say.
Good points there, yeah. And actually leads to my last question to both of you. How would you sum up in terms of why a student should choose the IHRM master program at Ciffop? Maybe you want to start too, yeah.
In addition to the international and high quality education, I would add that, you know, it's a real focus on HR. It really provides you the tools and resources you need to build your career on that. And being, you know, specialized myself in the past also in business, I really wanted to focus on HR. And it's a really good environment for that. The people who are with you in the masters, they are also motivated to do human resources. So in terms of the environment that you have, in addition to students, the tutors, and the professionals that come and teach you, it's fully embracive in that regard. And it's a world on its own, so to say. It's extremely motivating.
Sounds great. Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, Mr. Mayer?
Only adding to what Celia said, I think the only dimension I want to say, two dimensions. First, the companies that put the interest on Ciffop are some of the best international companies in France. So once you are selected as an apprentice, if you are lucky, you will continue with them, not only in France, but in other countries. So it can be the start of a wonderful career. This is one. And the second point, it's about the network of students, alumni, ex-students, and it's something you will live with for a very long time. And I'm an example of that because I used to do Ciffop at the end of the 70s and I'm still there.
Wow, impressive. Well, thank you so much for your, expertise, advice, and your information and your experience shared. And thanks so much for watching, and we hope to see you soon.